Hi, everyone. It's good to see you again. Hi, Nat.
Hi, Matt.
I'm excited that some of you have watched the first video, and so we thought that it would be helpful to record a second. Yeah, talk about some of the things that we could talk about. I think there's so many things that can come from these stuff. Yeah. So maybe just to kick us off, just quickly, my name is Natalie. I'm an executive coach at Self.
Natalie. I'm also an executive coach and many other things based in Hong Kong.
And so we really started to do some of these softs. Start raising some awareness and sort of also talk to some of the things that have been coming for us as we've been going through our own journey around some of the topics of vertical development and meaning making. That. So let's start as you have been, I see that you've been also leading a non-linear movement method class. I'm curious, when you start thinking about the movements and some of the vertical development work, yeah, what are some of the intersection themes there?
Oh, God, right in with a juicy question. So I think what comes to, well, two things is that I think this work can essentially vertical development is a branch of psychology, and it's got a lot of very robust research and psychological studies behind it, and some big, brilliant brains, and therefore it can get quite heady. It can get quite intellectual. I myself can get a bit like that, and I like good kind of thinking and intellectual kind of conversations, and so I have to really practice letting some of that go and being in my body so that I don't get caught up in thinking and over intellectualizing things, and I can bring my whole body into not just my day-to-day life experience, but also in my responses in my coaching and when I'm with clients. And that brings me to my second point, which is practicing and learning this awareness of subtlety. And I think it's Terry O'Fallon's work, isn't it, who she talks about the three awareness states of concrete, subtle, and meta. And we talk a little bit about this in the diploma.
Yeah.
And how we bring it and can bring it into our coaching. And for me, it really supports my practice of subtle awareness. So noticing subtle sensations in my body, in my mind. Perhaps there's even more of even a meta awareness there as well, practice. So yeah, it's actually really almost feels quite different and disconnected, but it's actually really connected and really complementary. What made you lead with that question?
I think I just remember seeing some of the postings that you have for it. We've also, yeah, I don't know. I think there is this nice connection also with the trauma-based work that I do,
Yeah.
the trauma-informed work, because so much of it is also, I guess, grounded in the somatic. And so anything that we start with is, where are you feeling that in your body? Could we just make a little bit more space for that? What are you noticing about the sensations? I think it's interesting that a lot of the coaching work, especially the work that I was trained in, is very, sort of cerebral, right?
Mm.
We're helping people get to a plane, think about option, let them go. And the more my work is balanced with the psychology aspect of it, the more the body is being introduced to, and then I need to be also aware of what's going on with me. Yeah. I don't know, maybe as a mirror or maybe just as a noticing of like, this is coming up for me. Literally most of it for you. And I think that last piece of that, I just interjected is really like the use itself. It might, I think in a lot of previous ways, I wouldn't even talk about what I was feeling. I would just be focused on you. And I think now that this new introduction of, how I'm noticing things,
Mm.
And maybe a story that might, come from my side or might be helpful for you. But yeah, that introduced to a few things there. But
Mm.
yeah.
Interesting. We're going to have a conversation this week about coaching in AI. And it's funny, even as I say that, I take this big breath. And I think that, and I've been really following different thought leaders or people that are very interested in AI and are using it and experimenting with it. And I'm quite astounded by what its capability is even now, and the kind of images that it can reproduce, it can produce, and this notion of like what's real and what isn't. Kind of just feel that this practice of the body and being with our real self, physical self, is going to be is more and more important as we navigate a more technological world.
And then, that brings up for me one of the books that we brought in before. So was a book called by Nora Bateson.
Mm-hmm.
And Nora Bateson, for those of you listening, is a woman who is really associated with the warm data movement. And I had to go look up like warm data. I was like, oh, it's warm data. And, on my Google search, I found, warm data is actually the data that's communicated between two human beings. And that, is not lost through. There's a emotion in it. There's art, there's poetry. It's all the beauty in the humanity. And, she writes this book with a couple of other people. And I was reading the introduction, and I think I shouldn't have started details because I'm just so amazed by it. She's like, we just came to a room, three of us, and we each brought our own stuff. Like some of her almost honest, and then we sprayed all on the Regal, and 3 days later we had a boat. But I read that because some of the work in there has really resonated with me as I've been reading it over the last few weeks, and just to focus on humanity. Right? What is the beauty that's our humanity that can't be replicated by an LLM? And I think after even sitting with some of the work, I think the gap is still pretty big because even any of the AI work, any of the LLM work, requires a beautiful prompt to be written by a human being. Right? Without the prompts, there's no output. So it's almost like in coaching, if you're getting a bad answer, you have to look at the question. Right? So with the LLM and the AI also will spit out a terrible output if the question of the prompt is not detailed or is not specific. So I think in that sense, there's still a wide gap, where we are and where we would need to get to in terms of the, we'll call it the replacements of what some of us.
Yeah, there's I've been listening to, there's a guy called, I think his name is Ethan Mollick, and he's doing a lot of writes about his experiments with AI, and he recently published this experiment he did with voice AI. So with Siri, the new voice kind of very simple AI from Apple, and then the more advanced one from ChatGPT. And it was so interesting to notice my own reactions, because he was being quite, sounds bizarre saying this, but he was being quite rude to the AI. Like when he was prompting a question or a task, he was kind of being quite sharp, and I could notice my own reactions of that. And that was so interesting to watch, because also the AI had a female voice, and to add in another layer, it sounded to me like a black female voice. And so it was a really interesting to watch my own reactions to that interaction. And he wasn't being rude, he was just being direct and quite a bit curt, and and where was I going with this? One of the things that Nora says, and I'm really glad that you brought her up, I think she's amazing, is she talks about how can I, in terms of warm data and that human interaction, she talks about how can I be with you? Who am I when I'm with you? And who can I be when I'm with you? And who can you be when you're with me?
Right.
And I think that's just such a, like, A, that's such a beautiful invitation, and B, this, I don't know what the connection is yet. I'm still figuring that out, but there's something there around that AI piece, the gap, and what perhaps we as coaches bring that, well, actually, as coaches, as human beings, bring that an AI might not.
This is great. Like, this is you watching, and it brings up this interaction that I had. And there's sort of two vignettes that I think I'll share that I think might be interesting. So I went to dinner on Friday night with some new people and had a lovely dinner. And dinner's conversation was pretty surface level, like, pretty safe dinner conversation for basically five people. Like, couples knew each other, but not everyone knew each other. To make it even more weird, to throw in the mix, one of the other people that I had met was the principal of my son's school, who I also had never had huge interactions with, just like the right. So there's a lot of guardedness at dinner around like what I share. Like I'm noticing about others and what I'm saying. More self-conscious than I think I normally am because of that consistent relationship. That really shifted to me just in town of our Christ. And so there's another woman and we roll over whiskey flowers. The moment, the second woman starts this drinking, she had not had anything to drink at the dinner. She started becoming a lot more sassy and a lot more just tell it like it is, and just really willing to just meet a little and have fun. And somebody called it out. She's like, "Whoa, like what happens? Like you really notice that your personality is like really coming out." She's like, "Oh, like this is what I like when I have some whiskey." And so we're like, "Well, do you want to name this person?" And she's like, "Yeah, this is Stella." Sassy Stella. And so for the rest of the evening, Sassy Stella was there and she like making little wisecracks and for some reason it helped the conversation to go quite a lot deeper and it actually relaxed the conversation and relaxed the tension of the group. And we all got to a place where we were talking about responsibility, like wanting to hear, serve, and hearing some really beautiful stories about people.
Mm.
I think part of that is like that question of like who I am. Who am I with you? Who can I be with you? And the second vignette then comes to like you telling me a story about this guy like being really rude to the AI. And so in that sense, like because there's no need to have compassion for this bot, I can really be like my basest self and just rude and ugly and just kind of I don't know. So there's something in that that's quite interesting. When we start thinking about okay, well, like the AI can replace human services.
Mhm.
What does that mean for our society, right? What happens when we know that there's no human on the end of the chatbot, that we're talking to with Cathay Pacific? Am I just going to get into this like f off, like we're just rah, 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 and just become this like rude and terrible person because I know that there's no person at the end of the line.
Yeah, there was something came up when you were speaking then. It was what you reflecting that back to me. It reminded me of something that came up for me when I was listening to that conversation with the bot, and there was something about the power dynamic and how when we're in interactions with each other, we almost check each other, right? And there is a natural in society, we're kind of always that is this context piece, right?
Yeah.
Which is conscious and unconscious. We're aware of power dynamics. We're aware of boundaries, respect, where we can kind of push a little bit to bring out the sassy Stella, where where we know it's not appropriate. I was listening to another conversation about authenticity and how being authentic is not about just being like this one you in every single interaction. It's about knowing the context that you're in and where you might need to speak up more boldly and be more direct, or be softer. And so it's all, I think, these nuances and these different parts of ourselves that make human interaction really rich. And yeah, I don't really know where I'm going with it, but it's something that I think part of this program actually is how we bring all of this to our own awareness, so that we know when we can and it's appropriate to bring it in our coaching relationships and coaching interactions, and even beyond that with all of our stakeholders in the coaching process. So the HR partners and the manager of the coachee. It's knowing how to navigate yourself, all the parts of yourself in those different interactions. And I think that when we know all of that as part of ourselves, we know we can live within our range when we coach.
Yeah. Well, you're funny. You brought up this since morning I had tough morning with my kids. And my helper came in sort of in the middle of where like there was a blow up. So I don't think I need to go into the blow up, but my oldest son was just like being very challenging and causing a lot of problems with her. And so I picked him up and I'm like, listen, like we need to go have a conversation because this I cannot deal with this right now. And so I definitely raised my voice and I picked him up and he's holding his because he was basically being fussy about yogurt. And I had some wheelchairs, and I'm sitting in the room and I'm having the more like calm, what's going on, and and just like, he's explaining why he wants the bigger bowl, and brother's getting she got a smaller bowl, and like bigger, better, and like trying to have that conversation with him, and then come down, and and then we make up and we come back down. Like it was my anger just out of her. Like basically when you wall up that and I kind of let it go and working with her like just felt how so this was up for another 30 minutes and I sense the distance. I was like, I think I need to say something because I don't think she's seen this side where she's seen me raise my voice, and so I had to sort of pull her aside and I just want to apologize for see that like but I just want to explain what happened and then what happened when I took her upstairs. She's like, yeah, kid. And then her whole demeanor changed, like something melted. And I was like, oh, okay. And when glad that I did that because I could see that if I just left it and I wasn't aware of it,
Yeah.
then some divide would have been created because I also know that, we had some shells with her, we saw her, and who knows what the role of anger was in her house. So, if I wasn't there to do some of that repair, then I don't know, what did she look like? I don't know what this because I don't know show up. So I think it comes to this, like I know that I have this range now, and I know that sometimes I need to step into repair, and I think that goes in our professional lives and our personal lives, so that I can be authentic, so I don't need to hold back as much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is.
I love that example because what I hear when you share that is that it was settling for her to know that you knew,
Yeah.
right? And you weren't had by it, because that allows her to know that you're aware of the different parts of yourself and when you might need to. Valerie Live say in her book, Leaving the Ghost Light Burning, talks about the different characters that we bring onto the stage at different times. And so when to bring that. And it might be involuntary initially, but then you're kind of aware of it, right? You're aware that you need to dial up I was gonna say like Mad Mac when you need to with the boys, but it's settling for her to know that you know, and you're not gonna just be had by it, and then it would be unexpected. So there's something about your awareness of yourself that's settling for her nervous system, because you're then able to also talk about it and, like you say, use practices of repair and explanation, and and that's, I think, a big part of this work is our own awareness of our different characters and our range, so that it is settling for others.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, just the thing that popped in my head when we were saying that, and that last part, right? I think there's so much work that you've done on like raising your self-awareness
Mm.
as the end point. And I'm like,
Mm.
it's not about just being more aware.
Mm.
And, what it requires is I'm raising self-awareness so that I can act on that awareness
Mm.
and live in conduct with the way that I choose to live, right? And I think that's where, I think some of this work is helpful for me because it's, I can see this, and it's, I'm making sure to do something. And I think that's where, all this, vertical development work, or I don't even know what it's couched in that lens, but just the work has been to help me to live more authentically, and then also or the people I work with, ask the questions, be able to ask the questions so that they can see themselves.
And what it kind of almost brings me back to Nora Bateson's work, in that really it's about relationships, because this is about that intentionality and what you do with the awareness that impacts all of the relationships in your life, whether it's the people that support you at home, the partnerships, clients, friends, work partners.
Yeah.
It permeates all the relationships, and that's really what it comes down to, right? Is relationships. Good convo. I liked where this went today.
Me too. And so I think, as we wrap up, I think if this, type of work is interesting to you, and if you have questions about, where you can learn more, how to get more into this, right? The noticing, leading to some self-awareness, leading to some change in the behavior. If I was to know, send us an email. We'll put our contact information into the little box down below, and or if you have questions that you'd like us to try about, we can talk about things. We'll put it here me for a little bit. I'm enjoying it, and it sounds like the people are going to enjoy it. Enjoying this.
Yeah, no, it's torture. There's nothing I love more than deep conversations and sense making. So and it's actually really helping me integrate, our experience on the program and the work that we do. So thank you.
That's right. Well, that's all I said.
Bye.
We'll see you. Okay.